Imagine the terror of being pursued not by a common criminal, but by someone masquerading as the very symbol of protection, a police officer. Welcome to this chilling journey where we unravel 3 disturbing true stories of fake cops. Picture this: the sirens blaring, the blue and red lights flashing in your rearview mirror, and your heart pounding in your chest as you pull over, only to find yourself face to face with a predator in disguise. It's a chilling scenario, isn't it? One that plays on our deepest fears and shakes our trust in those we expect to protect us. As we traverse this shadowy path, we will uncover tales of deceit, fear, and survival that take us into the heart of darkness, where safety is but an illusion and trust a dangerous gamble. So brace yourselves as we delve into the terrifying world of those who use the badge not as a symbol of justice, but as a weapon of manipulation. If you're ready to delve into the dark side of deception, stay with us. And don't forget to subscribe and like our channel. Our first tale takes us to a quiet suburb where tranquility was shattered one fateful night. Imagine a quaint neighborhood where the only sounds you'd usually hear are the chirping of crickets and the occasional hoot of an owl. This was the serene setting where our first chilling encounter with a fake cop took place. The protagonist of this tale, whom we'll call Jane for the sake of her privacy, was a single woman living alone in a small house nestled amongst the trees. One evening, Jane was returning home from a late-night shift at work. The streets were deserted, and the only illumination came from the dim glow of the streetlights. As she drove down the winding road leading to her house, she noticed the ominous flashing lights of a police car in her rearview mirror. Feeling a pang of anxiety, she carefully pulled over, her heart pounding in her chest. A man dressed in a police uniform approached her vehicle, his face obscured by the darkness. He claimed there had been reports of a stolen vehicle matching the description of Jane's car and requested her license and registration. Despite the fear gnawing at her, Jane complied, handing over her documents. The man walked back to his car, supposedly to verify her information. But something about this entire situation felt off to Jane. The man's uniform looked slightly ill-fitting, and his demeanor was more aggressive than she'd expected from a police officer. Deciding to trust her instincts, she discreetly dialed the local police station on her cell phone, explaining the situation and providing them with her location. The operator's response sent chills down her spine. There were no active patrol cars in her area. Realizing she was dealing with an imposter, Jane was paralyzed with fear, but she knew she had to act quickly. As the fake cop approached her car again, she slammed her foot on the accelerator, speeding away as fast as she could. In her rearview mirror, she saw the man jump into his car, but he was unable to keep up with her. When the real police arrived, they found the abandoned fake police car, but the imposter had vanished. The investigation that followed revealed that the fake cop had been involved in several similar incidents in the area, targeting lone drivers at night. The ordeal ended, but the scars of that horrifying night remained. It's a chilling reminder of how trust can be ruthlessly exploited. Despite the trauma of this encounter, Jane's quick thinking saved her from a potentially dangerous situation. Her story serves as a stark warning to us all about the importance of vigilance and trusting our instincts. Our next story is a terrifying account of a woman whose late-night drive turned into a nightmare. Picture this. A woman, let's call her Sarah, was driving home after a long day at work. It was well past midnight, the moon was high in the sky, and the road stretched out before her, nearly deserted at this late hour. As she drove, a set of flashing lights appeared in her rearview mirror, a police car signaling her to pull over. Sarah, being a law-abiding citizen, complied immediately. She parked her car on the side of the road and waited for the officer to approach. But what she didn't realize was that this was not your typical traffic stop. The man who stepped out of the car was dressed in a police uniform, complete with a badge and a gun. He introduced himself as Officer Smith and began to question Sarah about her late-night travels. As he spoke, Sarah noticed something off about him. His uniform seemed slightly ill-fitting, his demeanor was overly aggressive, and his questions were strangely invasive. As the conversation progressed, her unease turned into fear. She began to suspect that Officer Smith was not a real cop. But what could she do? She was alone on a deserted road with a man who was posing as a police officer. Her mind raced, trying to think of a way out of this terrifying situation. In a bold move, Sarah decided to challenge the man. She asked him for his badge number and the name of his supervisor. The man seemed taken aback by her questions. He stuttered, unable to provide an answer. It was then that Sarah knew for sure this man was an imposter. Despite her fear, Sarah managed to keep her wits about her. She told the fake cop that she was feeling unwell and needed to call an ambulance. The man, perhaps fearing that his cover was blown, quickly backed off. He told Sarah to drive safely and return to his car. With her heart pounding in her chest, Sarah drove away as fast as she could. As soon as she was at a safe distance, she called the real police and reported the incident. An investigation was launched, and it was discovered that the fake cop was a criminal, wanted for several robberies in the area. He was arrested, and Sarah was safe. She survived to tell her tale, but the memory of that dreadful encounter continues to haunt her. This chilling story serves as a stark reminder that not all dangers come from the shadows. Sometimes they wear a badge and a uniform. Be vigilant, stay safe, and always trust your instincts. Our final story is a harrowing tale of a man who came face to face with a sinister imposter. In the heart of a bustling city, where the hustle and bustle of daily life usually blur the lines between the ordinary and the extraordinary, our protagonist, a middle-aged man named John, lived a rather mundane existence. But one day, his life was turned upside down when he found himself entangled in a web of deception and fear. The day started like any other, with John making his way to work through the busy city streets. But this day was different. An unexpected detour led him down an unfamiliar path, and it was here that he first encountered the imposter. The imposter, a man draped in the intimidating uniform of a police officer, approached John with an air of authority. His badge gleamed under the morning sun, his voice firm yet strangely hollow. He claimed there had been a series of burglaries in the area, and he needed to check John's identification for routine investigation. John, unsuspecting and wanting to cooperate, handed over his ID. This was the moment the imposter was waiting for. With a sly grin, he informed John that his ID was fake and that he was under arrest for identity fraud. Fear gripped John as he was handcuffed and led to an unmarked car. The imposter's confident demeanor began to crack, revealing a more sinister intent. John realized too late that he was not dealing with a real police officer, but a dangerous imposter. As they drove off, John's mind raced. He thought about his family, his friends, and how he ended up in this horrifying situation. But amidst the fear, a spark of courage ignited within him. He realized that he had to act if he wanted to escape this nightmare. With a surge of adrenaline, John managed to break free from his handcuffs. He fought back, struggling with the imposter as the car swerved wildly. In the chaos, the car crashed into a lamppost, attracting the attention of nearby pedestrians. The real police were alerted and arrived just in time to apprehend the imposter. John, shaken but unharmed, was released. He had survived his dreadful encounter with the fake cop, but the experience had left him deeply scarred. In the aftermath, John's life was never the same. He became more cautious, more aware of his surroundings. Every police officer he passed was a potential threat, a possible imposter. The incident had opened his eyes to the reality of the world and the depths to which some people would go to exploit others. He lived to tell the tale, but the incident left a permanent mark on his life, reminding us of the depths of human deception. In the face of such horrifying tales, one can't help but question the safety of our world. These stories of impersonation and deceit are not just chilling narratives. they're stark reminders of the reality we inhabit. Each anecdote, each disturbing encounter with a fake cop has underscored the importance of vigilance in our daily lives. In the end, these stories serve as a dreadful mirror reflecting the darker side of our society, where trust can be manipulated and innocence exploited. They highlight the need for us to be more discerning, more skeptical, especially when our safety is at stake. It's a chilling thought, isn't it, that the very symbols of law and order, those we look up to for protection, can be twisted into something so sinister. What thoughts do these stories evoke in you? Share your views in the comment section below, and remember, stay vigilant, stay safe.